Welcome to What Not to Do. I'm Kyle Schmidt, and this is episode 22. I've got Ryan Klein. He's a former high school classmate of mine, but he's also the COO and co-founder of Opus Communications. Opus is Latin for business, and they are doing business right. Ryan's also got some Q-tips for you. What he means is quit taking it personally. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right. So I am here with Ryan Klein.
Hello.
He is one of the founders of Opus Communications.
Yep.
Business done right.
That's right. Yes. Opus being Latin for business. Very good.
Yeah, which is awesome. We are at The Exchange in West of here. This is my second time here, and it's a fantastic coffee shop. Ryan's first time here.
It really is awesome, yeah.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a chai latte. Very yummy. My taste hasn't evolved to like bitter stuff like coffee or even beer, which I'm German, and for me to not like beer, I feel like I'm the worst German ever.
There's some form of sin in that for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, something's not right. We should get that checked out. But that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, man, for being on the show.
Of course.
Yeah. Fun thing. So Ryan and I actually graduated together from Ashwaubenon High School in 2004.
2004, awesome. Yeah, forever ago.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
Yep.
I was really half the man then that I am today, which is great. And but it's all in the beard.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, you've changed so much since I remember seeing you last. Like, you've evolved majorly.
Like good or like?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Was that a fat joke?
You demand respect. I think your presence in a room, which is again, yes, a very awesome thing to have.
So in high school, I did not demand respect. I was very unrespectable. So I'm teasing. So it's so fun.
That's not where I was going with that.
Right. Ryan reached out to me. Man, it was probably last year, just to tell me what he was doing with Opus, and that was so cool. Was able to like the page and support them, and they are doing some really cool things. So I'm excited to hear from Ryan more on that. But Ryan, I'm just. Like I said before off air, I'm excited just to catch up with you, man. So you're probably going to share this with folks in your network, but there's also probably a lot of folks who have no idea who Ryan Klein is, never even heard of Opus Communications. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are? Who's Ryan? Family, what do you like to do? Where do you come from?
Wow, stuff. Loaded question. All right. Well, a little bit about Ryan. Let's see. Had originally got married to my high school sweetheart.
Nice.
Yeah, and we have two kids together, a 9-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son.
Awesome.
I was very fortunate to have one of each genders because that was ultimately the goal.
Yeah.
And I was going to pump out as many kids as necessary to have at least one of each. So luckily one of each, Sophia and Sawyer. Couldn't be polar opposites if they tried. Just one loves one thing and the other kid hates that, and vice versa. So that makes things interesting. Recently divorced. We just grew, separate. Lives got super busy. Yeah. And we just didn't make time for each other. So we remain good friends, but single, bachelor on the prowl, which is interesting and fun.
Ladies, you hear that?
Yeah, right. Had gone to college for a little bit in WTC and went there for a 2-year degree, decided I wanted to do a 4-year degree, so I transferred to UWGB, got a job in sales because I was working at a bank and they had banker hours, which you think would be great, but UWGB's hours weren't flexible enough to make that work. So I got a job at sales, which had, really bad hours, weekends, but it was flexible enough that I could do my college full-time and go to school full-time, and work full-time. Well, not 3 months after joining the job that I had for sales, they changed their scheduling tool where it wasn't flexible at all, and I had to be stuck on a set schedule.
This is Zales, the jewelry store?
No, I'm sorry, just sales.
Sales.
Yeah, it was at AT&T, which I loved working at, and so I had to make a decision: stay at AT&T or go to school. Well, the money that I was making in sales at AT&T was really good, especially for how young I was.
Yeah.
So I made the decision to drop out of school, do sales, and that's basically what I've been doing ever since, is doing sales, and now it's evolved where I'm not selling for someone else. I'm doing my own stuff. I'm doing my own sales. And
there you are.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's so cool. And, oh, man, yeah. So, so when you're not selling, you love your family, you spend time with your kiddos, you're on the prowl, right? What else do you enjoy doing? You have hobbies, interests, that kind of stuff?
Man, my time with my kids take up, and I know it's a lame answer, but I swear, my kids are my world, and without them, I couldn't even imagine what my world would look like. So I have them in so many sports. They're going to sleepovers. We're going to fun places like trampoline parks, which, by the way, Appleton has like 5 awesome trampoline parks that you definitely have to visit. There's this new one I think it's called Urban Air. And they have virtual reality. They have a go-kart. They got like 12 different trampoline parks. They have bumper cars. They have rock climbing walls. They're not associated with this podcast of any sorts, but yeah, it's an awesome place to bring your kids to. So doing stuff like that, trying to fit in, dating when I can, which is, a hard thing to do, but it's fun. And meeting new people and, working on the business. It's not enough time in a day, but, I make it work.
I've heard it said that a full plate is better than an empty one.
Yes,
so
I agree.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and I can relate. I mean, we've got our own tribe at home. We call them our little hobbits or schminions.
Nice.
My last name is Schmitz, and so it's a little play on stuff, and it's fun, man.
How many kids you got?
Yeah, so we've got 3 and 1 on the way. So 3, 2, and 1. Boy, girl, boy, and then we got a little girl coming in about 3 weeks at the time of this recording.
You are going to be so busy when that child comes.
Yeah.
I can't. Wow.
But
that's awesome.
Exactly what you said. Busy with good things. Right?
Yeah, for sure. So is this what you wanted? Like 4 kids, or was this an accident, or like?
Yeah, we didn't realize how things worked.
Yeah, right.
No, we got married a little bit later in life, and so we knew that we wanted to have kids. We know that there's a biological clock that ticks. Yep. And so we said, well, hey, let's go for it. And we've just been super thankful. Feel very blessed that we have the kids that we have. And we don't have a number set. So maybe we'll get up to the double digits. Who knows? But
yeah,
I'm teasing. But we love it. We love kids, and we'll see what the future holds. So we take every pregnancy 1 kid at a time.
Sure. Yeah.
It's harder on the father than it is on the mom. I know.
Oh, everyone knows that. That's true. Yeah. The best advice my dad gave me with kids is that he always said, you can find a million excuses not to have them.
Yeah.
But you'll find a way to make it work. So if you want a family, if you want kids, have those kids. You'll find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Stop making reasons not to have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because it's like you get a crack at really shaping the next generation of leaders, right?
Yeah.
It's think about the dynamics. You're running a company, helping to found it, and you're going to have employees underneath you. Maybe you already do, and it's like you help to shape them. You're helping to build them. You're helping to set them up for success, which is going to make you and the company more successful. And we could do that. Like, since when will we want to do that with our own kids, right? With our own, blood. And it's cool. So it's an exciting thing for us to see even their own personal development. Your kids are a little bit further along than ours, and so I'm sure that's been a reward for you to see them grow and mature and get to know who they are and their
unique personalities. Yeah, for sure.
And then figure out how you can help to set them up for success in life. It's just so cool. So
it's crazy to think about that. When if you take a step back, you see older people, President Trump, or CEOs of big companies like Apple, and they're 50 or 60 years old, and you're thinking we're not a piece of that pie. Yeah. But like we are, man. Like that's who we are. We're gonna get there. We could potentially be the next CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, and maybe we have it in the works right now to make that happen. Yeah. And the fact for our kids that could potentially be doing that soon, it's the time is now, basically.
Ryan Klein for president.
There we go. 2024. There we go. Yeah.
I love it. No, that's cool. And I actually love that thought too, because man, I think one thing that plagues folks in our day and age is how small we think.
Right. Yes.
How small we think, and I think one of the best things that we can do is learn how to think bigger. Yep. And it's kind of been like we were talking about this again a little bit off air, but you left a really good job, a well-paying job, to take a risk on building your own business, and it's kind of funny because it's like. That used to be a little bit of the norm, like the entrepreneurial thing, like productivity wrapped up in the household, and this is what you had to do. And then we got comfortable along the way.
Right.
And then it's like somehow, some way, it's become more appealing to us, more attractive to us to go work for someone else and build someone else's dream and give up on all ours. Because we think, well, it's not possible, or we can never make money doing that, or that's just a dream. Look, everyone has a dream, and it is just a dream until you actually have a vision and execute a plan and strategy to go for it, and then take action and do it, right? And you can do that for yourself, like you've done or are doing, or you can do that for someone else. It doesn't mean doing it for someone else is bad. It just means you just know the options. But that idea of small thinking.
If you're working for someone else, you're not working for your full worth.
Yes.
That's the way I look at it. Yeah. So, I mean, complacency is the enemy here. It's easy. You get a paycheck. You're guaranteed from, 1 week to the next that you're going to have that income, and life goes on. And do what makes you happy, obviously. So if you're fine with that, then great. But there's so much more that you could be doing, and again, working for someone else, you really limit yourself on what that could be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're working for yourself, you can make those decisions to make a difference in a business, whereas working for a big corporation, they have the rules set in black and white. Here's what you have to do, and if you don't like it, well, there's the door.
Yeah, and there's a place for folks, right? Like, I mean, you're going to build a company, and you're going to have employees that come help to build your dream, right? And that's not a bad thing. But you want to voluntarily make that choice.
Right.
You don't want that choice to be made for you because you didn't get clear on what you wanted in life, and you didn't set goals and all that kind of stuff. So you just tried to find the best paying gig that you could, doing something for someone else, right?
Yeah, it's all about stepping stones. So, like, you don't go from A to Z, instantly. You got to, get some experience underneath your belt. So, like, what we do, we're a telecommunications broker, and the only reason I started doing this is because I had experience working for other people in the telecommunication field. So I got no regrets working for them. I love the experience and I love the field. And again, it's not realistic to think that from day one I could have done this by myself. No, it's definitely something you have to do, is work for someone else and get the ins and outs of an industry.
Yeah. So let's piggyback off of that. So you're at AT&T, crushing it, helping people to get what they want. By the way, if you're listening to this and you're in sales is not about you making money. Sales is not about you getting other people to do what you want them to do. Sales is about understanding what others want and helping them to get that.
Yeah, right? You were in sales too, right? Yeah. So you know just as well as I do.
Yeah.
That it's that, and also it's not necessarily about how much you know. It really comes down to your personality and how much you care. Yeah. Because if you're just reading from a script, talking to someone, they can tell that you're being robotic. But if you're actually speaking like truthfully and from the heart and trying to have some compassion and like telling them this is going to benefit them, they're more likely to listen as opposed to a robotic pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. If they sense that you actually care about their success and helping them to get what they want,
right,
you are going to be successful and you will get what you want.
Yeah.
It's people first, money second in that regard. A lot of things go wrong when the money comes first and people are second.
Yep.
So take us from the AT&T and then lead us into what you're doing now with Opus. What is it even that you guys are doing? You don't have to give us trade secrets or anything like that, but just kind of give us some context. What are you doing? And
so I got two other business partners, and we all have a lot of telecommunication experience.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we came together, is because we all were working at the same company at the time. And I'm not here to bash anyone, but when you work for a telecommunication provider, they have agendas. Like any sales team's got to have.
Dun.
Right. So a quota.
Yeah.
A company needs to make money, so they're under obligations to make so much money, to increase revenue, maybe to sell something that makes a company a lot of money, that you get paid very, very well to sell, but maybe might not be the best fit for that company to have. You kind of force it in, like, hey, you should get this. Well, do I need it? That's irrelevant. Like, you should still get it, like mentality where sometimes it caused me not to be able to sleep super well at night, knowing that I really didn't need to sell this customer this product. And again, I'm not saying that any one company I did this for, and I'm not going to name whatever, but working at Opus, starting this business called Opus Communications, we are a telecommunications broker. So we have agreements with every single service provider, whether it be, AT&T, Verizon, Spectrum, Comcast, et cetera, to be able to provide and quote their services to any businesses in America.
Yeah.
So a company, what they would do is that they'd come to us and be like, hey, Ryan, we got a business here, here, and here, and we're looking at, telephone and internet solutions. Well, you could go directly to AT&T, and they might give you a solution that could fit at this one location, but they're not a good fit at this other location because they don't actually have services there. But there's ways that they can make it seem like they do by rebranding and reselling someone else's service. Whereas if you just would have went direct to some other company, let's say AT&T and Spectrum, you'd be saving a lot of money. But again, AT&T then would be losing business on that second location, and they don't want that. They want to get as much money as possible. So what we do, we'll provide customers with every single company's service and cost, and we have experience to talk about the pros and cons with every service provider and let you guys make that decision. And our service is completely free. And yeah, we feel like it's just working with the customer as opposed to being on the opposite side of the table from the customer.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So help me understand if I'm understanding you correctly. So if I had 3 businesses,
yep,
one in, let's just say 3 different states,
right.
If let's say AT&T was great for Wisconsin, Verizon was great for Texas, and Sprint was great for California, I could, trying to go through every one of those is not only not good for me, because if I were trying to go to them directly, I would have to pick all 3 I'd pick one for all 3 states. And that might not be the best deal. And on the other side, it might not be the best deal for AT&T, right? Because they might be losing money, like you said, on those other locations or whatever it goes.
That is a large time commitment too, because you're gonna have to work with 3 different companies.
Yeah.
Wait for 3 different responses. So yeah, exactly.
So then, when you guys come in, and in a sense, you have like a brokerage model.
Exactly.
Where you're saying if you thought of like AT&T and Verizon as captive agencies for folks that kind of understand that world, you're coming in as a broker. Where say like, hey, you don't have to just have AT&T for everything. Like you don't have to have just State Farm for everything, right? You can have this or this or this. Like let's piece this together to get you the best solution for your unique needs, and you're doing that for free.
Correct. So they'll get a list for every location of what their options are and pricing. And again, since we have the ability to price out service ourselves, our business model is to always just do floor pricing. We guarantee the cheapest possible price for every single service provider at every single location. So again, you'll see a service location A, this option's the cheapest. Service location B, this option's the cheapest. And service location C, this option's the cheapest. Whereas again, if you go directly to a company, they want all your business, and they're not going to tell you that other companies are going to be a better option for their other locations.
Now, I'll probably say saying I don't want you to overshare as far as if this gets into like trademark stuff. Keep it to yourself.
Sure.
But are you presenting the options for free to the customer, or do they at some point have to pay you for the services, or do the providers pay you? Or
so super good question. You'd be surprised how many customers think it's too good to be true. All the time we hear, well, what's the catch? How why should I do business with you? Wouldn't I be better just going directly to AT&T or whoever? Yeah. And there is no catch. What we do is that the service providers pay us when we get them a contract for a service. So no different than a sales rep who works directly for the company. Yeah. They get paid commission for a sale. So do we. No different. So that's why we don't charge a customer a single penny. We don't even have them sign any paperwork at all. Like there's no commitment to have to utilize our service if they don't want. Yeah. But hopefully they realize that we invest a lot of time to benefit them, to show them all their options, and that they decide to proceed using our service.
Yeah, that's amazing. It seems like you guys have struck at a real gap in the industry, and are innovation is such a cool word. But you really did, like on the model side of things, saying how can we bring a better solution to this issue?
Yeah, right.
That's actually not just providing value to the business of the customers, but to everyone on every side of the table. And that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, it doesn't cut anyone out. Like AT&T is acquiring new customers. Customers are saving time and money because we're getting them the best possible options. We're still getting paid because AT&T pays us. Like again, there's no really downside with this company that we started, because everyone still wins.
Yeah, and that's like an example before. AT&T, profits on Wisconsin, what they lose on Texas and California. So it would be more advantageous, instead of taking a bigger loss, to pay you guys, a commission or whatever it would be called on Wisconsin. Knowing that that's going to be really, really profitable, and assuming they're also going to start to get more business through you guys, right? Because people have more flexibility and options now. That makes perfect sense, and I love it because you're really delivering just awesome value in a very creative way, in a timely way, to everyone on all sides of the table, which is cool.
For sure. Yeah, and again, it's such a great business, but there's my fair share of hardships that come along with this as well. Like again, so many people think it's too good to be true. And I'm sure we can talk about that when we get to that point. But yeah, you'd think it'd be a slam dunk for all businesses to utilize our service, but it's a grind.
All right, man. So tell me why. Why do you do what you do? Why'd you leave a good, cushy job to go kind of risk it all, burn the ships, and build your own thing?
So yeah, man. Like I had this job where I was getting paid six figures Monday through Friday. I could work from home, super flexible hours. It was a super good gig that I had, and I left it. I'm always super motivated. Like, from a very young age, I've always strived for advancements, and it's just who I am. And the company that I was at, there really was no advancement opportunities. So again, yes, it's paying a lot of money, but I thought to myself, do I really want to do what I'm doing right now for the same pay for the next 20 years of my life? Like, that scares me, and it's so, for lack of a better word, boring.
Is this it?
Yeah. So then I thought to myself, okay, I could do this for the next 20 years, or I could try to find something else to do. Yeah. It's a lifelong dream, the American dream, to have, your own business and make money. And like I said before, anytime you work for someone else, you're never truly working for what you're worth. And so I decided to make this jump, and haven't looked back since.
That's awesome, man. So it's really, you said this earlier, complacency.
Yes.
You are fighting the plague of complacency.
I am. And
you're starting by doing that in your own life and modeling that. Hopefully your kids will take on from that. Hopefully the world, where they see you got something really, really good. And that's great, but you wanted more. And it meant going all in, not being complacent where you're at, and going all in on. You could lose it all, right? You could all fail and all that kind of stuff, but great, you're going to strive to get back up, learn.
That's just it. Yeah. I mean, the only way to learn. I'm probably going to butcher this saying, but the only way to learn is with failure, I think, is the saying that goes along with that. Or the best way to learn is with failure. And, if you want to stay at one place forever, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. There's a lot of benefits of, profit sharing and 401k and pensions that come with companies that if you stay for a long time can really add up. So I'm not advocating job jumping, but at the same time, just make sure that, again, you're not just at a point where you can live life. Try to enjoy life, and a means to do that is by taking risks and getting scared and making that jump.
And sometimes realizing that the riskiest position is staying where you are.
Right.
Yeah. Not taking any risks at all. Yeah.
Very well said.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Kyle. Well done on your decision today to be great. Those are my kiddos in the background. Hey, if you want more of this kind of content, find me on social media. We'll keep the conversation going. You can hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, at StartWithWNTD. Again, at StartWithWNTD. We'll see you there.
All right, man. So we're going to get into the heart of the podcast here. You've had good success throughout your career in sales, crushing it.
I'd say so.
And you use that as a springboard to launch into building your own company. And I'm not sure if we mentioned this before, but you guys are having early success, which is great. Mm-hmm. Very, very exciting and promising for what's to come. And so you wouldn't have experienced any of that if you did everything wrong, right?
Touche, correct.
So talk to us, man. As you look back to your career, your story, your journey to date, personally, professionally, what are a few things that you've done right in your mind and in your time that kind of come to the top of mind?
So, it all boils down to experience. You got to find something that you're passionate about, and you can't do that unless you go and get that experience working different areas of the fields and stuff like that. So something I've always been passionate about doing is excelling when I'm working. And I can't wrap my head around people who don't put in effort at their jobs. You're there. Why not just make the most out of it? Try to make the most amount of money. Try to get, career advancements. I just don't understand people who have a job and they have, why not just make the most of it? Work hard. Try to make the most amount of money. Try to get that career advancements. You never know what type of launching off points that could give you from getting that promotion at this job. And even if you don't like it, well then again, try to make that change where if you're working really hard, you'll get that recognition and get moved into a different area that maybe you will like a lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's always just about make the most out of your time, basically, is what that boils down to, is my long-winded way of saying.
Yeah.
You're there, you have only so much time, work hard, because you're there anyways. It's not like you could be playing, video games at home while you're at work. You're at work, so I know that's obvious, but that just blows my mind how people can work but not actually put in their most amount of effort to do it.
Yeah, man, I love the way that you phrased it. a lot of people talk about their passions these days, and they talk about just going to do something you're passionate about. That can be great, but if you can't make money doing that passion, then it's just a hobby, right? But I love what you said. You said be passionate about excelling, right? So be passionate about excelling. Like, I love the way that you phrase it is, I think, awesome. Wherever you're at, you should be all in, right?
Right.
And I think we actually have like a moral obligation to be as successful as possible. When we take our whatever our gifts, our skills, our talents, and abilities are, and we unleash those and cultivate those, develop those to the best of our abilities, and we employ those in the world around us, we end up being the biggest blessing to not only ourselves but our families and the world around us. If we squander and waste all those things that have been given to us, our time, our capacity, our resources, we're stealing not only from the world, not only from our families, but from ourselves. And so this idea of like, hey, if you're going to be passionate about something, be passionate about excelling. And wherever you're at, be the absolute best at it you can be. Get passionate about that. And you might find down the road that other things that you actually enjoy doing and are passionate about, you might find the economic opportunities for that because of how you excelled and were passionate about excelling. Like, am I kind of understanding where you're coming from?
You really only have so much time on this world, and I'm not saying you should grind 24/7. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. You got to find time for yourself. But again,
I'm a real boy.
Yeah, you only have so much time, so maximize it. Again, you're there, you're at your job. Why not just put in the efforts so that way future time that you have maybe could be enjoyed even more so.
Yeah. And that can be a mindset thing. It can be challenging for folks that might not like what they do.
Right.
Okay, well, go find something that you enjoy doing and that you can be good at. And until you find that thing, why don't you just consider going all in? Maybe what you don't like right now, maybe you would find that you actually come to like because you're successful.
Right. If you have that mindset of thinking, I'm not liking this, well, then of course you're going to be stuck in that way of thinking, hey, I hate this. But if you just try to be like, okay, let's give this a clean slate. Let's actually try. Let's put in the effort to see maybe I can change what I don't like about it, or maybe it's just me being stubborn, like I need to make a change myself about something. And again, it's all about your mindset and maximizing the time that you have.
Yeah, well said, man. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice. You're human, and so I'm assuming you didn't do everything right.
Yes.
So as you kind of look back on the course of your career and your journey to date, personally, professionally, what's 1, 2, 3 things, 3 failures that kind of stick out that you'd readily tell someone else, hey, don't do this?
So many failures. I don't know where to start.
Like, a lot of episodes.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got time.
How much time?
I need content. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah. Right. I'm gonna need some dinner pretty soon here. Let's see. Where to start? Well, okay. I did have another company that I tried going on my own.
Okay.
It was a company where I tried to be a broker for just strictly cellular service, but I charged people to be able to manage their cell phone accounts. And again, it was only for businesses. And the train of thought was, there's been so many changes in the cellular world. It's super competitive that plans are changing and there's better rates. And I could be that person for companies that they could just pay me X amount of dollars a month, and I'd manage their cell phone accounts and make sure they're on the most cost-effective plans. And I didn't get one single customer. That floundered so horribly. And I learned a lot from that really carried over to my second business attempt here. And a couple of those would be working from home. I think is incredibly difficult. I'm not saying it can't be done, but you have the mentality and the mindset when you're at home that this is a place to be yourself, to relax, to kick your feet up. Like, home is where the heart is. Yeah. And you don't have that mindset of grinding and working and, doing the best you can to make money. So for the people who do make a go working from home, my commendaments to you. You guys are awesome, but I'm telling you, probably 90% of people working from home does not work. So I think that was a big failure of myself, was working from home for that company. Another thing that would be...
Can we double click on that first?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so let's double click on that. So it seems to me that it could be just deeper than even just working at home. But maybe that underlying principle is that environment matters.
Yeah.
So so why doesn't working from home work? Well, you're used to being this way at home. You've got kids at home. You've got whatever at home. you've got laundry machine, dogs
Correct.
barking, whatever
Dishwasher,
it is.
right, yes.
And so many distractions that can actually really kind of water down your capacity to work and to produce throughout the day, because you're constantly losing focus. Like for instance, I have a home office and I have like these earplugs that I put on, and then earphones are like kind of the studio headphones over those, and it almost like isolates everything. And it's just like,
do you lock yourself into a room too?
Yeah.
Like you have a time lock in your door?
And even my wife and kids know that they have to knock and before they come in, and if I don't answer them, they don't come in. Like we've had to set some boundaries if I'm working at home, just because I have to focus, and they get that and they know that, and my wife's super supportive of that. But
do you make it work? You make a go of it?
Well, I would prefer to be smoking a cigar somewhere, but it's most cost effective to be at home when I need to be.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Yeah, cost effective. Yeah, I totally get that.
So I think you're onto something though, like understanding your environment. And being mindful of that. So I guess you might just say something like, don't work from home. Is that kind of how you'd phrase it to someone like that you might be giving advice to? Kind of in principle, like, hey, don't do this? How would you say it?
Yeah, there's so many options you can find. I mean, again, sometimes you gotta get creative, and maybe that could be working from your parents' home or from a friend's home. We have a super inexpensive office location. It's at NWTC. It's called the Startup Hub. Super cheap. Very small office, but we found a way to get out of our homes, and have that work mentality of having an office. And I'm telling you, we saw a difference in our work productivity. Excuse me. Almost instantly. Again, at someone's house, you have that ability to BS with them and whatever. So maybe, again, it's best to be working at a parent's house, but whatever it takes not to be working from your home. Again, I'm not saying for everyone, but for a vast majority of people, find a way to get outside the house.
I agree. I think environment matters. I think context matters, and don't discount it. Sometimes, like for instance, in my situation, hey, it's a cheaper price tag, but are you quantifying all the costs?
Right. Yeah, it might be cheaper, but then are you actually finding ways to be as productive?
Exactly.
Because again, it all comes down to that mindset, which is just sometimes easier said than done to be productive. When you're at home, the mindset is this is a place of relaxation.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. What's next? Number 2.
Oh, number 2, boy.
What shouldn't we do? Tell us what not to do, Ryan.
What not to do? Don't wait for a big break. So many people are hoping that people will give them a chance or are putting their eggs in one basket. You just constantly got to be trying to be innovative, grinding, never counting on anyone else but yourself. Whale hunting in my line of work is great if we close a sale, meaning a super large customer, but if it doesn't close out, well, then there goes my whole month of,
shrimp.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, it's stay motivated.
Yeah.
You're going to get 1,000 no's depending on what you're doing. Again, even in my line of work where there's really no downside to utilize our service, we get people hanging up on us, slamming doors in our faces constantly. So stay motivated. Q-tip is the acronym I use all the time. Quit taking it personally. They're saying no to your service, not necessarily you. They're not saying, Ryan, go jump up a bridge. Or they're saying, Ryan, I don't want to utilize your service at this time. So don't get discouraged. You're going to get so many no's, just unbelievably unamount of no's. And understandably so. You're new to the industry no matter what you're doing. Even if you have tons of experience and a great product, you still don't have that reputation that people know that they can trust you. Yeah. So just keep grinding.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Not waiting for a big break. I think we were maybe talking off air about this, but I think that big break is when you realize that you need to have skin in the game. Yeah. And that you need to take full ownership of your life. And you go all in on Ryan or all in on Kyle, and you don't look back. You burn the ships on who you are, being passionate about excelling wherever you are. Right, I think that's the big break, and that's kind of what you're describing. Is that it flips the switch of people when they have that mindset, and they realize, and it doesn't look like a big break in the way that we want it to. We didn't just get signed to a massive record label. We didn't just get this massive venture capital endowment coming our way. It looks a lot like sweat rolling up the sleeves, late nights, a lot of chai tea, a lot of chai tea, whatever it might be, a lot of rejection. But to your point, the pain of rejection is better than the pain of regret. never having gone all in on yourself in the first place.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. And also that'd be my third, failure that I've had. Time.
Yeah.
Keep it broad because there's a couple different things, but time as far as working late at night and throughout the day and not taking vacations because you're your own boss. Like, you gotta keep yourself honest. Make yourself a schedule and try to smash that schedule. So yeah, work 9 to 5, but then also do stuff at late at night when it's not time sensitive. You don't have to get it done during the day. So like for us, we do proposals during the day and send them out to customers because a lot of them expect immediate results. But there's a lot of research we got to do, and a lot of times we'll do that after the normal business hours. The only past that also is keeping at it as far as the business goes. And I forget the exact number, but something like, and I'm just making this number up, and I know it's a high number, something like 90% of businesses close their doors within the first year of doing business, and then also they don't make any money within that first year as well. Just a ton of businesses don't make money their first year, and I've seen it happen all the time where this great business comes along that I actually think they have a lot of potential, but they only give it like 3 months, and if they can't make a go of it after those 3 months, they shut up shop. So you guys stay at it. Know that, again, you got to be in for the long haul. Don't just be discouraged after a couple months. Again, you got to gain reputation, a lot of networking, and keep at it. And and I guess the fourth one would be financially prepared. There's going from, again, having that security blanket of having guaranteed income for working from someone else to not having any type of guarantee. Is scary. And again, a lot of people aren't going to make money within their first year of business. So you just got to have that, preparation of knowing that you won't have that money coming in.
So how would you, you talked about time, how would you phrase that in a don't do this way? If you were to tell someone, what you're talking about time and maximizing it, how would you say it? Don't.
Yeah, so if I were to rephrase it as I don't do, I'd say don't become complacent. Don't think you have to put in the same amount of time and energy in owning your own business as you would working for someone else. So again, you work for someone else, you work 9 to 5, you go home and you separate work from home life. Owning your own business, you really can't do that. So you can't have that same expectation. Don't have that same expectation of being able to just be 9 to 5 and you're done. Yeah. It's a lot of work. And maybe that actually plays into what you're talking about with money too. Is we could combine the two and say don't think like a 9 to 5er. Yeah.
Right. If you're thinking like a 9 to 5er time-wise, you're thinking like, hey, I punch in at 9, I'm out at 5, and I'm done until tomorrow at 9.
Right.
And if you're looking at for money, it's saying, well, I get my paycheck every 2 weeks and I'm fine, right? Yep. And I'm saving up for this, that, the other thing, but I'm not really creating enough of a surplus on my profits or what I take home every month to actually invest in something greater in life because it's not really on my radar.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, and only if you think the show deserves it, would you go over to Apple Podcasts and give us an honest, thoughtful 5-star review? This will really help us in our mission to equip the world for success.
So if we combine the two, time and money, the first being, don't think like a 9 to 5er. How it relates to time is, you check in at 9, you're done at 5, and you're done until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And obviously owning a business or aspiring to anything greater in life, I'm not a big fan of I think the work-life balance thing is a myth. I think if all of life is about people and about providing value to others, and that never stops, right? So whether it's your family, all that kind of stuff, and I think it's a matter about being present wherever you are, whatever you have during that time in your calendar. If that's dinner with the family, then be there. Don't be doing work. But it doesn't mean like you can't do work if you're at home, right? It just means being present and all in on whatever you're at, whatever you have out in that time block for that period, And then on the money thing, if we're just content with, hey, I get my paychecks every 2 weeks and we're basically saving 10% whatever, that's it, and we're never like really looking to try to create a greater surplus or a deficit so that we can take it and invest in something greater in life. It's gonna be tough to ever get ahead. We're kind of buying into a system or plan that's been laid out for us versus being more proactive. Is that kind of what you had in mind? And I just want to touch on that
work-life balance.
Yeah.
It's what we said before, is maximizing the time that you have.
Yeah.
And so many people, they hate Mondays. I hate Monday. It's like, well, why?
Never miss a Monday, baby.
Right, yeah. Like, maximize the time. Yeah, the weekend isn't here, but you should enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
You still have plenty of time during the day, even if it's after work. Again, just maximize your time, enjoy your time, find ways to, like you said, multitask, right? Have the work-life balance where it's possible. Again, you might have work, but then also life/family at the same time. You just got to figure out ways to make it work. You can't have a black and white schedule. You have to be flexible.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's one of the things I'm even learning now is how valuable time blocking is. And if I could have it my way, I would have the same schedule every day.
Right.
But I'm realizing more and more, life is too complex for that.
Exactly.
At least in my line of work and spending time with people and being out and networking and all that kind of stuff. But I think that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? So it comes back to just being present wherever you are, wherever you have for this time on your calendar, and make sure you've got time for your family and everything on your calendar, right? But then when you're there, be all in, right?
Yep.
And it kind of goes back to what you're saying earlier about just being passionate about excelling wherever you are. So if that's being a dad, if that's wrestling with your kids, or changing a diaper, or having dinner, spending time with your wife, or whatever it might be, be all in there, be all in on your business, right? When you're focusing, which is maybe why you shouldn't work from home, right? So you can be all in, be passionate about excelling there. That's good, man. Yeah,
absolutely.
I like it. Don't think like a 9-to-5er.
All right, I want to know who's next. Who do you want to hear on what not to do? Which entrepreneur, which leader, which public figure in your network do you want to hear on the show? Maybe it's you. Maybe you need to be here. So let's connect me with whomever, and we'll sit down for coffee, a beer, or even a cigar, and together equip the world for success.
All right, man. So looking back over it, you've given us some awesome things. I'm curious, man, what would you do differently? And another way to think about this is how would you counsel a young Ryan to maybe kind of sidestep some of the mistakes that you made, assuming he would probably make other mistakes anyway, or another person that came along said hey man, I could see myself in your shoes, how do I get started?
Do you ever look back in a yearbook and see young Kyle or young Ryan and you think to yourself, what in the world were you thinking, man?
Those are on the ships that I burned.
Yeah, that's a good call. Boy, there's a lot of things I could want to tell myself, a younger Ryan. Yeah, I wish I had the same mentality that I have now back in the day, as far as utilize the time that you have. Don't just hope the day goes from morning to night and then tomorrow does the same thing. Maximize the time, man. I slacked off in high school so much. Definitely not proud of my grades. Thank God that as a business owner, you don't have to check my GPA scores because it's not pretty. That's say I'm dumb, but definitely.
How many transcripts have you submitted to venture capital?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Just a bit of a slacker, and I'm sure there's a lot of traits or skills I could have picked up if I would have committed to actually putting in the effort. Like a second language, I wish I could speak Spanish or even German. My last name's Klein, which is the most German name you can have, and I can't speak more than 2 words in German. And again, I know I'm a horrible German because I hate beer, and also I don't like sauerkraut, but let's not dwell on that. So
we can change that.
Yeah, maybe. Wishing I had the same mentality I have now.
Yeah.
Knowing that, if you're just complacent, you're going to be complacent for the rest of your life. If you put in a little bit of a grind, a little bit of a work, it gives you the opportunity to enjoy life, reap the fruits of your labor. Is that the right expression? Yeah. So again, you work hard and you can enjoy tomorrow a lot more so. And I wish that I had that mentality earlier in life.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, we worry so much about tomorrow, but maybe we'd worry a lot less if we actually made the most of today.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting way to think about it, how you phrased it. And I think that's so true. Yeah, we plant, we water, and the increase comes. We expect the harvest, we should, but it's not guaranteed, right? We don't ultimately know what we're going to get. And that actually just kind of clicked for me as you were talking. Why do we worry so much about tomorrow? well, maybe we know deep down inside of ourselves that we didn't give our all today, right? So we see the future risk because we didn't do everything that we possibly could today. Maybe if we did, we'd sleep better at night.
Right.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. That's good.
Another thing I'd change would be never, ever, ever burn any bridges. Swallow your pride. If you're working for someone and you hate that company or your boss with a passion, swallow that pride, man, because you never know when you might meet them later in life. And I've been burned by this myself personally, where I hated a job, I left it, and now, I needed like a reference from that person, or they got a job somewhere else and I could have utilized their service, but now they're like, oh boy, I remember you. You're that kid who didn't give me a 2 weeks notice when you left, or whatever it was, swallow that pride. Don't burn any bridges, because I'm telling you, you just never know that they might come up later in life.
As the troll under the bridge.
Right.
Coming back to get you. Oh, man, that's good. That's tough. And it's like, yeah, I mean, because let's say someone has truly wronged us, right? Like, so let's say someone has truly hurt us. What do we want to do? We want to go after them.
Yeah.
Or we want to vindicate ourselves.
Yep.
We want to defend ourselves. And that's never a winning strategy. Even as well-intentioned, it's better to take the higher road. Don't defend yourself. Don't vindicate yourself. And certainly there's a time to, if you
stand up for yourself.
There's a time to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm not saying that. I'm saying generally, most of us want just to impulsively, irrationally, just nuke the bridge, right?
Right.
And the situation, all that kind of stuff. And that generally is not going to go well.
Right. Yeah. Stick up the two middle fingers because you think you may never see them again.
Yeah.
Screw you guys.
Slash tires.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever done that before.
No, of course not. Luckily, I can see my car from here, so...
Oh, that's awesome. All right, man. Yeah, good stuff. I'm loving the conversation. And it's always fun, like, talking, like, that idea that you just made click for me was huge about, anxiety tomorrow is a function of how hard we work today, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to have to think more on that, but maybe that, for folks that are listening, maybe that'll be a huge nugget for you guys to ponder and think on. Are you worried about what's coming? Are you worried about how you're going to, make out tomorrow, what might lay ahead? The best thing you can do is work hard today. Be passionate about excelling in today, wherever you're at today. It's awesome.
And don't get discouraged. I especially starting this company out at first, put in many, many, many hours with very little to show for it, very little response from customers, but you just got to keep at it. You can't, again, expect immediate results for anything in life. It takes time and dedication, no matter what it is, whether that's learning, again, how to play an instrument, learning a new language, playing sports. It just a lot of practice, a lot of time investment, and eventually it's going to click and pay off, and then at some point you're going to be really good at what you do.
Yeah, it reminds me of, you probably heard the parable of, a penny. Would you take $10,000 today, or take a penny and let it compound every day for 30 days? Which would you take?
Well, yeah, $10,000, right? Would be what seems like the obvious answer.
Let's do that. But then, then you do the math.
Vegas,
right? And 2 weeks, you only have $115. It's like, man, I should have taken that $10,000. You get in the 20s, it's a couple thousand. Like, man, I should have taken that $10,000. But you start to get to the mid 20s, and you're up to a couple $100,000, right?
Right.
You finally hit 30, and it's $5 million. You hit day 31, the full month, $10 million, right? And it's that idea of like delayed gratification where up front, the pushing is slow and hard and laborious. You're not seeing the results that you want, and you're ready to give up. But if you stop pushing that flywheel, it'll never eventually take off for itself. But the more that you just plod forward, it's going to go a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. And then as you gain that momentum, you keep pushing, pretty soon it's going to build the momentum and the speed and the velocity where it's taking care of itself now. And you're going to be so thankful that you waited 31 days. Obviously in the business world, it's more than 31 days.
Right, yeah.
Don't quote me. But you're going to be thankful to the principle of the story that you did wait, that you didn't take the Band-Aid, you didn't take the quick fix, you didn't take the quick hit, and that you did the hard work because you're now experiencing the exponential fruit of your labors, which is awesome.
It was pretty deep, Kyle. Did you do philosophy when you passed high school? Like, that was good.
Yeah, I philosophize in my own mind.
Yeah, I like it. Actually, I've never heard that saying before. The penny. I have not. I've heard the one about the grain of rice. ever hear about that one? Like for a checkerboard, someone who made the checkerboard sold it to like the king, and for payment, he just wanted 1 grain of rice per checkerboard, and it doubled for So kind of the same analogy as that. But,
exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, isn't it? And you're like, that's not possible. And you're on the math like, oh, that is possible.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like, I think the bigger point is it's the principle for life, right? So there's a difference between principles and methods. Principles are transcendent and enduring. Methods they can vary in how we might apply them in a certain time or in age or situation. And those stories give principles, and saying, hey, the work up front is going to be slow going and hard, right? You're planting, right? Which means you got to till the soil, you got to break it, and you got to water and cultivate it, and that's an entirely different season. And then, and let alone another completely different season, you hope to expect an exponential harvest, right? And then that harvest reproduces itself. That exponentiates into something greater. It's just a principle in all of life that you can never rehearse enough. You can never learn it enough because we're always, always, always tempted in whatever stage of work that we're in. Even after you've already experienced previous harvests, we just want to give up because the work's too hard. And it's that idea of delayed gratification over against short-term gratification, which is huge. So
absolutely, that's why the gambling is so attractive to so many people. Yeah. I'm not saying again, I'm not bashing anyone who goes gambling, but just to touch upon that. I actually love the casino. Like I go maybe once a month. As long as you have the mindset of you have so much money and you lose only so much, you can have a fun time with it. But it's about the instant gratification and
work on the budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly right. And how much of our culture at large is like that? Instant gratification, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, we see that probably. Oftentimes, and it's a bit cliche, but come January 1st, everyone's got a new resolution, right? But no one wants to wait till they start seeing results in March and April and May, right? They quit by the time February comes around because they don't see what they want to see, right?
Yeah.
And they realize, well, hey, life doesn't work. Life doesn't work that way. This is a principle that's embedded in the fabric of life and existence, and you have to honor it.
Yeah, and it kind of is almost just like that. As far as again, New Year's resolution, January 1st, you're hitting the gyms, you're expecting to see results, but no one ever actually really sees it. Even if you do it for a long time, just because it's so gradual.
Yeah. Exactly.
That you need to see yourself from January 1st to December 31st.
Yeah.
And again, the fact that you're seeing yourself in the mirror every single day, you won't see that change. But if you look back from again your December 31st and you did it for a year, you'll see that change.
Yeah.
It's the same with a business.
Yeah.
You think, well, I'm only making this amount of money right now, and again, you may be growing gradually, and at some point, you look back at January 1st, and it's like, well, shoot, actually, I'm doing a lot better than what I was doing back in the day.
Yeah, millions.
Yeah, exactly. Swimming in coins in a big vault.
Well, it is one of my main goals to give you more in use value than what I take from you in cash value. And so, man, I love that this podcast is for free. And I really hope that you are finding just incredible value. Who knows, maybe in one of these episodes, you'll take an idea that will be worth $1 million to you. And that's so awesome. If you believe in this and what we're doing here and you'd like to give, you can go to patreon.com/whatnotttodo and you can give according to your heart's desire. But seriously, every little bit helps in our mission to equip the world for success. Thank you so much.
All right, man. So speaking of planting seeds and watering, this is very much like life. I love to talk about it. I've used this in other episodes about, the idea of a rose and how the promise of the rose is wrapped up in the seed, right? And how we get from seed to full blossom has to do with environment. If it falls on blacktop, not going anywhere. If it's planted in a garden but has too much sun and not enough water, or too much water and not enough sun, right? Or gets chopped down by the lawnmower, right?
Right.
There goes the rose. But assuming that it's in a good environment, it can really help to flourish. So that is to say, our environments inescapably affect us, which is why we shouldn't work from home, right?
There you go.
Another vote for that. But I'm curious for you in your life, man. Obviously, for human life, I think human life is so similar, and people in our lives are a major part of our environment, and how we get shaped and how we flourish and grow, and or not, right? So I'm curious for you, who in Ryan's life has had, one of the, some of the greatest impact in your formation into who you are today. In such a way that if you take them out of the equation, you just wouldn't be anywhere near the same person. And there's probably a lot of people, but who kind of rises to the top of that list?
No doubt, my dad.
Yeah?
Yeah, without a doubt. at one point when I was, young Ryan, my dad had to work 3 jobs to be able to support the family.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep. He found ways to make it work. My mom has been sick a lot of my life, and she's still fighting the good fight. She's still alive. She's in remission from her cancer. So, a lot of respect for my mom. I love her to death. But my dad's the one who had to keep the family together through her cancer and her treatments. He's the one who also then had to make dinner and help with schoolwork and work 3 jobs. And I remember one time my dad fell asleep standing up because he was so exhausted from working so hard. But that's what he had to do to provide.
Fell asleep standing up.
I was at a parent-teacher conference, and my mom was there, my dad was there, and my dad was leaning up against the wall, standing up, and he fell asleep at that very moment. And it was kind of embarrassing, but looking back at it, I can really appreciate how much hard work he had to do to keep the family together. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, without a doubt, my dad. Even to this day, he doesn't have to work 3 jobs anymore. Thankfully, he's getting close to retirement, and I would do anything for that man to help make his life easier because of how much work he did to make my life easier. Wow. He just did everything that he could to provide for his family, and I think that really carried over to me to do as much as I could to provide for my family and to work hard and to stay dedicated and to never give up. Yeah, so without a doubt, Dad, if you hear this, I love you, and you're my rock.
Man, that's so awesome to hear. What a cool example. I think we mentioned it earlier, but parent-to-child dynamic, father-to-son. We want our kids to go further faster than we could, and it really means us laying down our lives kind of as stepping stones so they can do that, or a foundation on which they can build, right? So we're constantly building up and not having to reinvent the wheel. And that actually gets at the heart of this podcast. I think that same dynamic from father to son or parent to child exists in the work world and in the world at large. Are those who have gone before us, are they helping to lay a foundation that we can build on,
right?
Or are we having to find ourselves reinventing the wheel, starting from scratch? Is that because we don't want to build on that foundation? We're just having to start from scratch and reinvent the wheel ourselves, or do they not set us up for success? So I think there's dynamics on both sides, but that really gets to the heart. And I love hearing stories, especially fathers to sons. I think fathers are so important, and mothers too, for sure, right?
For sure.
But I love hearing stories like that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for guys in general. So again, not saying anyone does or doesn't deserve any type of recognition, but I feel like a lot of times, it's assumed that women play such an important role and that guys don't, and I feel like sometimes guys are overlooked. Even in custody battles, it's so always one. Okay, and again, I'm not trying to get in the weeds here, but a lot of times it's assumed that women are the best caretaker for guys, and maybe guys could be just as efficient or lack of a better word here, good to take care of children. And I think that again, guys just need a better chance to be able to prove their worth, and a lot of times it's not something that's given to us. So again, maybe that's going into the weeds here and getting off topic, but again, with my dad being such a strong role model, and I try to be as important as I could possibly be to my kids' lives, that I hope that I also convey the same message to other men to do the same as well.
Yeah, what I hear you saying is just really in a sense, men should have an equal option, right? So it's situational. If the dad is the crack addict and abusive, husband and father, then you don't want him to have the kids, right?
Obviously.
But if it's the mom, right, who has the issues, alcohol or crack, whatever it might be, and the father's a stable one, then the father should get the hat tip, right?
It's if it's the one way where the dad is the abusive one or whatever, it's so clearly obvious that the mother gets full custody. But if it's the other way around, it's a bit of a battle, and it's a shame because yes, parents need to be involved, both parents in their children's lives. But if it's obviously one scenario where it's super bad to be placed with that parent, then regardless of the gender, then it should be whatever is the best option for the kids.
Yeah, and because we want, as a society, we want productive members of society, and so we want those kids to be in the best going back to an environment to be able to become that, right? And so that makes sense, man. That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah, again, I apologize for getting off topic there. I know that was way off.
No, man. all is fair. I don't edit out anything, so nothing. Last but not least, it is rush hour. Oh, no, excuse me. Got ahead of myself.
Oh, boy.
Not the best Ryan Klein, but the worst advice you hear floating around these days, or that you've been given some time along the way.
Worst advice. Let's see.
Like cringeworthy, like you're sitting here cranking away at the exchange and you hear, Sebastian over at table 11 tell his buddy Johannes, hey, you should go do this. And you're like, that's the worst advice I've ever heard. You're running over to Sebastian to wring his neck and talk some sense into him.
So just to clarify, is this worst advice for relating to anything? Oh my gosh. Well, like, okay, being a single, back in the dating scene, I've definitely gotten my fair share of bad advice. Oh my gosh, I don't know even where to start with that. Like, just be yourself, I guess. Okay, no, that's not the advice. So the bad advice is not being yourself again. Trying to be someone you're not, and you find someone you're really attracted to and you want to change your personality to make yourself more appealing, but at some point that's going to be you're going to let that persona fail. Like, that's not who you are. So at some point you're going to fall back to your own true personality, and then things aren't going to work out because that person was attracted to one type of personality, not your other one. So just be yourself at all times. Don't try to be someone you're not. I think is really the best. Okay, and again, to phrase it as the worst advice, don't be someone you're not.
That'd be the phrasing it as a good advice.
Yes.
So the worst advice would be like, change who you are.
Right. Yes, there we go. Yeah.
And you've heard that advice?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And maybe it's because it's a short goal of not anything long term with that person, if you know what I'm trying to get at here. But that's not where I'm at with life. So I am looking in the dating scene for an end goal of having the next, Mrs. Klein.
Yeah.
So
maybe she's listening right now.
Oh yeah, maybe. Hit me up.
Hit him up. We'll have his contact in the show notes, dude. Woo. Call me Cupid. Right?
Yeah, there we go. Change your podcast to Missed Connections or something.
Yeah, playing Cupid with Kyle.
Yep.
There you go. So maybe the worst advice is
a bow and arrow.
right. But not in a diaper.
No diaper. Okay, all right, okay.
So change who you are for others. That's terrible advice.
Yes.
And sometimes we give ourselves that advice. Sometimes it's us saying, hey, I should do this, I should become this because I think she would really like this. Or, hey, I should do this, that other thing because I really want to try to impress this person so I can get this job so I can, or you know what I'm saying? It's like rather
than try to be cutthroat in a job when actually you're someone who is compassionate and cares about people, but you think that's what you have to do to excel. And maybe that's the case, maybe that's true, but then are you you're changing your morals for that, and you're gonna be able to sleep at night, and eventually it's gonna keep you up at night, like we talked about before. Yeah,
that's good, man. All right, it's rush hour in every major city in the world. Billions of people listening to What Not to Do, Ryan Klein edition. And once you know it, they look up and they see a billboard, and it's Ryan Klein's billboard.
And they're thinking, dang, that's a good-looking dude.
Yeah, what message do you want the world to see? Now accepting applications.
Yeah. Let's see. I feel like I could maybe want a couple different messages. If I had to say just one, be true to yourself. And not to sound corny, but again, you got to do what makes you happy, what allows you to be able to sleep at night, what you are comfortable doing. And, sometimes you do need to get outside your comfort zone to do stuff, and, maybe that's public speaking or something like that. But as far as, if you don't enjoy scamming people out of their money because of this job that does it, or, whatever the case may be, again, do what actually you can feel comfortable doing, that you can get sleep doing at night, be true to yourself, and the rest just kind of falls into place. And for me, being true to myself was staying motivated and finding a way to get outside my comfort zone as far as, again, not being complacent, and that's how I stay true to myself. So be true to yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It goes back to kind of flipping the script on the worst advice, right?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's good, man.
Well, I'm really excited to share with you that What Not to Do has been gaining traction and momentum and experiencing some early wins, which is super exciting, and reminded me this show is about you, it's for you, and I couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much. If you're part of a company, if you own a company, and you think your message would be really, really relevant and valuable to the folks that are part of this community, entrepreneurs, leaders, public figures, and those aspiring as such, reach out to me. My contact info is in the show notes, and we can sit down and consider what it would look like to partner together in equipping the world for success.
All right, bonus round. 3 books that people need on their bookshelf.
Well, let's see. Considering I do not read books, okay, it's not that I don't read, but all my reading are like news articles from the internet, right? Like
It's that you can't read. Because
yeah, exactly. I am literate.
It's not that I don't read, it's that I can't read.
Yeah, exactly. So I do my fair share of reading. That's one of the reasons I like my line of work, is because the industry changes so much that, again, it helps me be not complacent. Like there's a lot of research, a lot of things changing, and I really, really like that. So I do read. I just am not a book reader, is what that boils down to.
Yeah, so let's riff on, are there websites, are there industry journals, are there blogs that you follow along that you think people could be really helped by? Would that be fair?
Yeah, so a website that I frequent often would be Engadget. It's all things technology related. So
what's it called?
Engadget. I think
Engadget.
ENGADGET. I believe I'd have to double check that, but it's again all things technology related. So whether it be new healthcare advancements or cell phones that are coming out and the technology that's inside of them. Advancements in computers, like all thing technology related is on this website. And I frequent that website, I'd say, at least once a day, just looking at those articles. And again, I love technology. I like changes. I wish I was smarter and had the means to retain information at a higher level so I could become a scientist, just because I love advancements in technology. But unfortunately, I don't contribute to that field at all, but I appreciate the people who do.
Yeah, you don't contribute to it yet.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, maybe someday in the future.
Cool, Engadget.com, what's next? What else do you frequent?
Boy, putting me in the spot here. And the thing is, I know I have a whole bunch that I do frequent, but I'm just drawing a blank as far as what I do visit. News articles. Okay. Keeping up on current affairs in the world. That's still full. Are
you a Wall Street Journal guy or
no? So to be honest, I go to Google, and Google has a news section, and they have a bunch of different links to other sites like Wall Street Journal or CNN or Fox, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's funny, I make a point not to watch news on the TV. Yeah. And I feel like that's because a lot of times they fearmonger because it sells. Yeah. So shootings happening or Iran tensions and stuff like that.
How's the world going to end today?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. And when's the last time you heard about the swine flu, bird flu, the big scare of, I think it's the bird flu.
Coronavirus.
Right? Well, I mean, that's what's going on right now. But before that, what was the big scare? And again, it was the talk of the news. Yeah, exactly. And now you haven't heard about it for the last, how many years. So it's always about what sells and what scares Americans because they'll tune into that to watch it. So I don't watch any news on the TV. Again, I like to read, and that could be kind of a selfish reason as far as maybe it helps me pertain to my business. Something happened that caused service providers to be down in one area. So then I will call into that area and be like, hey, we have disaster recovery or failover options for your business. So it's twofold as far as being up to the know in world affairs, and then also can pertain to my business.
So when you use Google, are you searching just kind of general things things or specific things, or
They actually
they have a tab for
they
news?
must have like an algorithm that knows like what articles I'm looking at, and then they have suggestions for me. So because I go to them so often, they'll be like, you might enjoy reading this, this, and this.
And do you?
I do.
Yeah. There you go.
Good on you, Google. Good on you.
So Engadget.com, Google.com, that'll actually be kind of fun to highlight because it is, the wealth of information that's on Google, right?
Yeah.
And
The scary amount of information that's on
be
Google.
careful of everything that you come across and read, right? So check it, but that said, what a wealth of information, right?
Yeah.
Call it one of the greatest quote-unquote books of our time.
Sure.
As far as getting in the conversation of ideas and that type of thing.
Yeah.
It can be a circus at some capacities, but
Right.
what else, man? And
And being a parent, to kind of circle back to the internet here as far as what I read, it differs between recipes, like finding stuff that my kids will eat that isn't the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
So I went for a year and did paleo.
Cool. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and that's where like nothing, pre-made, everything from scratch. And so I picked up a lot of my cooking skills doing that. Now I do like paleo/not paleo hybrid, which means it's pretty much not paleo, but I still try to make healthy decisions for me and my kids.
Do you have a favorite paleo website?
No, honestly. Again, what I do is I'll Google paleo recipes, and whatever pops up is what I look at. So I honestly don't pay attention to the website that I'm looking at, to be honest. But again, stuff like that. Recipes. Oh, what else was I going to say? Oh, shoot. Yeah, well, I guess we'll leave it at that. Stuff pertaining to family stuff. So recipes, ideas on where to go. I guess the internet in general.
Yeah, rock and roll, cool. And you said you listen to a lot of music.
I do.
So since we're not doing books, what's one band that you'd recommend folks go and listen to?
Well, first of all, anyone who knows my music taste knows I have horrible taste in music because I'm like stuck in like the 90s and the 2000s.
Wow.
I'm not a fan of like current music. Like I'm not a believer, Justin Bieber fan, as they call him. So like a couple bands. I'm not saying they're my favorite band, but I still do like them a lot. The Offspring.
Hey.
Yeah, I do like them a lot. Rise Against.
Did they do Pretty Fly for a White Guy?
They do.
Yeah.
Yes, that's like my theme song. Anytime I walk into a room, that's basically the music I have playing in my head. What else? Sum 41. They were a band that was popular in the 90s, and they've actually come back and now have released new music. Good Charlotte. A lot of people would categorize my music taste as like punk rock. Papa Roach.
What was you said the Offspring and the Offspring, and then you said the Rise. Was it the Rise or something?
I hope I'm remembering their name. I think it's Rise Against or Rage Against. It's not Rage Against the Machine. No, not them. I think it's Rise Against. And please don't send me hate mail for not remembering this band's name, but I'm pretty sure it's Rise Against.
Well, if you guys are looking for some good tunes, we'll have this in the show notes. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you love 90s music, hit me up, and I got all the connections to really good 90s music.
Yeah, I'm sure all of you guys are using Google, and I think that's a good reminder just how valuable it is in a lot of ways.
Use the resources that you have at your disposal.
Tools there, yep. If you're not already on Engadget.com, you might really, really enjoy it. And again, if you need some focus music, go get you some Pretty Fly for a White Guy.
There we go, yeah.
Or maybe it's just like a confidence boost, right?
Yeah, right, absolutely.
Assuming you're white, right? So.
And you know what, if I may, music, one of my good buddies, Michael Folk, who's actually my business partner, told me that music plays a big factor in how you feel. So what I like to do during the morning is play some high energy music, get me pumped for my day. During my ride home from work, play something more mellow. Calm me down, get ready to,
some sad music.
Well, I wouldn't go there.
No. Trouble Absent?
Michael Bublé, smooth, silky jazz.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, Ryan, this has been a blast, as I anticipated. Really, really enjoyed our conversation.
Good catching up with you.
Yeah, I had a few light bulb moments, and it's been awesome. Where can our listeners find you if they want to get coffee with you, if they want to do business with you, if they just want to learn more about you and what you guys are up to, where can they find you?
So we got a pretty good presence on LinkedIn. We have our business website, Opus Communications, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Ryan Klein. Otherwise, our website, simply www.opusdoneright.com. And we got a bunch of means of connecting with us via like email or telephone numbers on our website.
Awesome. Very cool, man. Well, that'll be in the show notes. Reach out to Ryan, connect with him, and go from there. But Ryan, it's been awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Likewise, Kyle. Thank you.
What a blast catching up with Ryan. I mean, it's been, over 15 years since we probably last connected, last even spoke, and awesome. I mean, just awesome. I'm curious, when was the last time you caught up with someone from high school or from 10, 15, 20 years ago? It's amazing. It's amazing just to hear what they're doing, what they're up to, and to be able to cheer them on, champion them on. I mean, this was really such a treat for me. So excited for the guys at Opus and Ryan in particular. It's awesome. So, all right, let's recap. First, Ryan said, don't work from home. Don't work from home. So we can take this, first of all, literally, right? Don't work from home. There's distractions. It can feel comfortable. You can, feel like you shouldn't be working, or you can lose focus, etc. Especially if you don't have, a separate home office, or we can tuck away and be quiet. Actually, when I have an home office and when I'm here, I actually have earbuds and then headphones that go on over the earbuds, right? Because I've got kiddos at home and all that kind of stuff. It's a busy place, and if I don't, just completely, isolate the noise altogether, then it's no good. So, but then I think you can take it proverbially, right? So take that principle, not working from home, but be careful, the environment that you choose, right? Maybe you are going to go to some kind of open workspace, and maybe that's great for you. If you're all about collaboration, maybe it's terrible for you if the way that you focus and get stuff done is just pure, quiet, complete, maniacal focus, right? Maybe co-working space isn't the best place for you. Check it out, right? Know how you work, know how you get work done, and don't work from home, and don't work from a place that feels like home, right? Environment matters. When you're home, be home. When you work, where you work, and figure it out. Secondly, don't wait for a big break. Don't wait for a big break, right? The big break comes after years of pushing. So Jim Collins talked about this in Good to Great, the flywheel effect, right? You have your main vision, your main goals, your main purpose. You have then values and habits, certain disciplines that you're going to go about doing this work, and that gets you pushing this big, heavy flywheel, right? And it starts off super heavy and just foot at a time, and you're barely moving. Well, pretty soon, over time, that gets going a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster, and pretty soon that flywheel just takes off, and you are doing it all, or the flywheel is going all by itself, and you're hardly even pushing anymore. And so that's what we call the compounding effect. You can think of it as a similar principle with money, right? It compounds, and for a long time, it just doesn't feel like much is happening, and then bam, like you look and like, holy cats, right? And that's a lot of breakthrough. Or you've heard the saying, it's like every overnight success has really been 10 years in the making, or 20 years in the making, or something like that. So don't wait for the big break. Work it, work for it, work it out, and continue to have the right habits and right system in place, so it's actually sustainable. And then when those big results come, those compounding results come, celebrate them. Awesome, but keep going. Don't stop. Last but not least, don't think like a 9-to-5er. Don't think like a 9-to-5er. Even if you work in a 9-to-5 job, I guarantee you, one of the best things that you could do for your employer is to think like a CEO, to think like a business owner. So get rid of the 9-to-5 mindset, whether or not you're an employee or you are a business owner or an entrepreneur, and think of, hey, I'm Kyle Schmitz & Co. I'm the CEO of Kyle Schmitz & Co. And if I don't drive a profit, I'm going out of business, right? And you take that kind of initiative, you take that kind of ownership, you assume that kind of responsibility in your role. I'm telling you what, like, you will be the biggest blessing to the ownership of that company ever. And if for some reason you're not, then you're probably not in the right ship. But I tell you, I mean, how many people come in, they punch a clock, they get their work done and no more, and they go back home? Man, you come in thinking like a business owner, thinking like ownership there. That's huge. And it doesn't take that much to even outshine or outwork the opponents. And so you talk about outliers, right? I mean, that would make you a major outlier in any role, respectively speaking. I mean, the odds would be greatly in your favor. Well, I want to thank you so much for listening. This podcast is about you. It's for you, and I couldn't do it without you. I recently shared in a video, and I want to share it here, my why. So my why is to use my presence and my pros to inspire you to go all in on you so that you live a legacy worth leaving. Let me say that again. My why is to use my presence and my pros to inspire you to go all in on you so that you live a legacy worth leaving. So a couple things here. First is that we are leaving a legacy as we speak, as we live. Like, it's inescapable. It's not whether or not we're leaving a legacy. A legacy doesn't like magically appear, after we die. We're actually building it right now. Everything that we're doing with our life, all the choices that we're making, it's constructing a legacy that we're going to leave. The question is it worth it? Looking back, are we going to wish that we had left that legacy? How valuable will it be to the world after us? And I want to inspire people to wake up. We have the working dead. All this talk about the walking dead. I think we've got the working dead. We got people that are stuck in the 9-to-5 mindset, that are sleepwalking through life. They are the working dead, in, out, eat, sleep, work, repeat, whatever it might be. And man, I want to inspire people out of that mindset. Even if that means you don't leave your job, at least you become that CEO, right? You become that sense of taking full ownership for where you're at in life, or you're the business owner, or you've been doing this for 30 years, or you're 60 years old and you're asking what's next in life because you still got another lifetime to live, right? 20, 30 years. I want to inspire you to go all in on you. As long as you can fog a mirror, go, right? And so I think this why is really, really important, that you guys know what's this driving pulse behind me. You hear some of my guests share that, and I want to share this with you. And then I've got a big, hairy, audacious goal. Another thing that Jim Collins talks about, calls it a BHAG. My big, hairy, audacious goal is this. I want to inspire 1 billion people, with a B, 1 billion people to live a legacy worth leaving by 2030. That's 10 years. I want to reach and impact and inspire 1 billion people to live a legacy worth leaving by 2030. And this is why I do what I do. And this is why it's about you. And this is why it's for you. And this is why I can't do without you. I can't sustain that goal myself. That's too massive, but together we can. Together, we can equip the world for success. Together, we can help others. We can inspire others to live a legacy worth leaving. And I want to create this ripple effect where we all are going all in on ourselves to live a legacy worth leaving, so that the legacy that we leave is valuable to the world long after we're gone. Think not just for yourself and what you can accomplish in this lifetime, but think what you could accomplish for the generations, 10 generations from now. Your great, et cetera, grandkids. Come on, live for them. Live a legacy worth leaving for them, right? That every time they think of you, or they receive a check for education, or whatever inheritance you pass down, they toast to you. They stop and remember you, and they thank you, right? And they thank God for you. I mean, how cool? Come on, are we thinking that big? I want you guys to think that big. Think that big with me. And this is why I do what I do. So a little bit of we got a little personal there, a little bit off topic, but I thought it was fitting to be able to share this with you guys here in this recap section. And so if this has been helpful for you at all, go ahead and share this with others. Let them know what I'm up to here at What Not to Do, and let them know that you're in on that. You want to inspire 1 billion people to live a legacy worth leaving. You want to be one of those 1 billion people, and you want to encourage each other on. Share this with them. A great way you can do that is leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps to get these stories out to the world and to inspire more people, which is awesome. If your company, you think you got a relevant value to bring to this community, let's sit down and talk. Let's see how we can partner together in equipping the world for success. Well, it's been said that good men learn from their own mistakes, but great men, they learn from the mistakes of others. So go and be great, and we'll see you next time.